So I'm going to take these rhubarb stalks that I have purchased at Sprouts, and I will wash them first. When preparing fruit for a turnover, it's key to just mince it as finely as you can, because as you'll see later, turnovers are tiny, and the smaller the fruit, the more fruit can go in there. So I'm just going to break these down as if I would break down celery. Wow, it tastes kind of like sour grass. I don't know if any of you guys like to chew on that. This will be interesting. So there's my rhubarb. Looks like I've got maybe 2-ish cups, but this is finely minced, so I'm going to treat it like it's about 4 cups. It's important to know how much I have so that I know how much cornstarch to add and how much sugar to add. I'm going to add about a cup of sugar and about a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. I wore black today. Let me give it a stir. Other aromatics, etc. might also be good, but I've never had rhubarb before, so I want to taste it in its purest state, so I'm not going to add any other spices or ingredients. I'm going to let this stand for about 15 minutes while I prepare the puff pastry. This is puff pastry, one of the few things that I will not make from scratch. Usually comes in the freezer. If you've seen my award-winning episode for Beef Wellington from last season, I talk about it more and use it more there. The great thing about using puff pastry when making turnovers is you can use its rectangular shape that it already comes in to your advantage. I have a cookie sheet on standby. Cut these into more or less squares and just carefully roll it out. You can make your turnovers, of course, as big or as small as you want. The smaller they are, typically the fruit to crust ratio, there will be more crust than fruit. You want to roll these out till they're reasonably thin. And say about like this. Repeat with the other 5. I'm whisking an egg in this bowl with my mighty fork. I'm going to make an egg wash to seal these things tight. Brush on standby. My rhubarb mixture has gotten a bit gooey. The sugar brought out the natural juices in the rhubarb, and then the cornstarch is starting to thicken them into a nice little sauce. All that remains now is filling these guys with the fruit and putting them on the cookie sheet and baking them. My oven is also preheating to 350. I'm going to actually make this on the cookie sheet. So take some of your rhubarb mixture. Err on the side of less than you might think that you need. That, for example, is actually a little bit too much. So I'm going to take some of it back. You want to make sure that it only goes to about the middle of diagonal of the triangle. You'll see when I fold it over. I'm so eloquent. Take your mighty egg wash, and you want to paint half of the edges of the square, not the full. Then fold over the dry side to the egg wash side and line them up. To seal the edges, get a mighty fork and just press it just like you would a normal edge of a pie crust. This is a lot goopier than I'd anticipated, this filling. Well, there's one. And just poke some slits in it for steam. And repeat with the rest. Well, some of the juices is already leaking out, so that'll be interesting. They're not going to look very pretty, but they're going to taste good, I hope. So brush the tops of all of them with egg wash. Sprinkle with sugar. And I'm going to pop these into a 350-degree oven for about a half hour, and then I'll check on them. As for this last little guy, I'm going to take the tablespoon of chopped rhubarb that I have and add a little chopped apple to it and make an apple rhubarb turnover. And behold their goodness. Okay, the moment of truth. It's been cooling off for about 10 minutes. I'm gonna have my first bite of like cooked rhubarb. Okay, that was all crust so far.